If both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield come back, I'm going to see the movie in my Spider-Man costume. I swear down. So hey guys, welcome to my top 10 Tobey Maguire Spider-Man moments. This list isn't in any particular order, it's just my favourite scenes from the full trilogy, and just, it's like I said, it's in no order. I couldn't think of a way to put it in, I couldn't decide, so I'm just going to list all of my top 10 scenes in just any random order. So kicking off at number 10, it's when he's in Spider-Man 1, when he's trying to figure out how to shoot his webs. He's sitting shouting Shazam and stuff, and he's like that, trying to make the thing, and then he eventually shoots the web and he goes, and it hits the crane, he swings from it and he hits into the billboard. I found this scene so funny, and it just shows how goofy and wacky Peter Parker is in this series, and I thought it was like a perfect moment that captured the character for the rest of the movies. At number 9, I'm going to say the wrestling sequence. I just thought it was dead cool to watch, and it's just when he's messing about, he gets his ass kicked at first, and then he just starts taking the mick out of the wrestler. He just keeps throwing insults at him, just constantly, and you can just see how Bonesaw is getting so annoyed. I just found it such a funny scene, and it's kind of when he gets introduced as well. It was like, I said my name is a human spider, and he's like, the amazing Spider-Man. I just thought it was really funny, and just a really cool scene to watch in general. Number 8 is the scene in Spider-Man 1 yet again where he's hiding from Norman Osborn. He's hiding at the top of the ceiling, the blood's dripping from his arm, and Norman Osborn's just like wandering about the room. He's looking for everything, and he looks under the balcony and everything. I just thought it was such an intense scene because you have the Green Goblin and Spider-Man in the same room, with Spider-Man not knowing that Green Goblin is there. It's just Norman Osborn, and Norman Osborn doesn't know that Spider-Man's above him. It was just such a cool scene. I mean, the blood drips down and hits the floor. It was just so intense, and it still sticks in my mind to this day. At number 7, yet again from Spider-Man 1, it is when the Green Goblin kills himself with his own glider. I love this scene because it was ripped straight from the comics. When the glider it lifts up, it goes to Spider-Man, it does a backflip, and it just pierces into the Goblin and just kills him. It was such a brutal scene as well. Just watch him struggling, the blood's coming out of his mouth, and all he says is "Don't tell Harry," and it just dies, and Peter Parker's just sitting there. He's like, it was just such a weird, it was just such a great scene, and it was so brutal as well, and it was probably one of the most brutal scenes in the Spider-Man movies, I think. At number 6, it is the Sandman scene when he first becomes Sandman. He's in the machine, and when you see him, he's just this big bit of sand. It's just such a beautiful made scene, and the CGI in it just looks awesome. And he goes to reach for the locket, and it just like splits apart in his hand. It's just such a great scene in Spider-Man 3, and while Spider-Man 3 isn't the greatest Spider-Man movie, it does have a lot of great moments with Sandman, and he is a really good villain. Just loved that scene so much. It was just stunning to look at as well. At number 5, it has to be the train sequence from Spider-Man 2 when he's stopping the train, he's shooting his webs, making sure the train stops. He's just so tired, his suit's ripping at the seams, his mask is off, he doesn't care. All he knows is he has to save the people in that train. And then obviously when he passes out, they pull him into the train, and everyone defends him against Dr. Octopus, and they're promising they're not going to tell anyone who he is. So it's such a great scene in that movie, and the movie is amazing in general. It's just one of those great scenes in the Spider-Man movies that just do really stick with you. At number 4 is when he rips the symbiote off in Spider-Man 3. I thought that was such a cool scene when he's just like, you can tell he's done with his suit now, and he just rips it off. He looks like he's in agony, and then Eddie Brock's waiting at the bottom of the bell tower, and it like crawls over him as well. It was such a well made scene, and like I said, this was another scene in this trilogy ripped straight out of the comics. Such a cool thing to watch, and it's just how like much he's struggling to try and get that suit off. I just loved it and just thought it was amazing. Number 3 is one of the saddest scenes in the trilogy, in my opinion, and it's when Harry Osborn sacrifices himself to save Peter, and it's after that when it's Peter, Mary Jane, and Harry Osborn when he's sitting dying. It's such a sad scene because Harry Osborn has finally forgiven Peter for what happened to his dad because he knows his dad was a goblin and he knows that he killed himself. And it's such a sad scene because the trilogy is about those three and their relationship. When he dies, it genuinely does feel like the end of an era. At number 2, it's Dork Sacrifice in Spider-Man 2. I thought it was such a well-made scene in my opinion because it made Doc Ock's arc come full circle as well. He realises that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and he realises he's been doing everything wrong this entire time and he just has to make things right. So he sacrifices himself to just sink that thing in the bottom of the ocean. It's such a good scene. I mean, it's Peter Parker has his mask off and he just opens up to him. He's like, listen, sometimes the hard choices are what you have to do. And that's when he realises, and he just sinks that thing in the bottom of the ocean and you just see him floating. Such a well made scene, and it just basically made the full theme of that movie come full circle. Number one is obviously the SpiderMan Dance sequence in Spider-Man 3. I can't show the video clip, so I'm just going to do this. There's a reason I wore this black jacket. I'm joking. It's Uncle Ben's death sequence. I like this. Like Uncle Ben's death is so integral to Spider-Man's origin story, and I just thought they'd done it so perfectly. Like, I obviously get across the main theme. It is Spider-Man's fault. Uncle Ben dies, and Peter Parker is just ripped apart at that moment, and the anger just takes him over, and he chases down the thief. Such a well-made scene, and I just thought it was so good. And like I said, it's just that basically the first part of Spider-Man 1 is genuinely like an almost shot for shot remake of Amazing Fantasy issue 15. Such a good movie that I just really enjoy it. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button and let me know what your favourite moment is in the Spider-Man Sam Raimi trilogy. Also, let me know what you thought of my pathetic attempt at the Spider-Man 3 dance, and because I basically just embarrassed myself on camera for that. Also, be sure to follow my Instagram where I just post about upcoming videos and just kind of like what I do day to day, because I'm a boring person and really is doing nothing right now. So be sure to check that out, guys, and also check out my other videos if you haven't already. And like I said, give a wee subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and also hit the like button. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.